Good evening. I'm Lateesha with Soul Spread Wisdom, and I am here with some delicious, warm, buttery bread for your soul tonight. And I am jumping in, starting a new series on the basics of astrology. I had a follower who wrote to me on Instagram and said, I watched your Beyonce electional astrology video as it relates to Black is King. And they said, I'm trying to understand astrology. I'm trying to get into it. And so, that particular video is a very advanced, the electional astrology is advanced astrology. So I responded and said, I'm going to create some videos that talk about the basics so you can understand the foundation. If you get the foundation of astrology and the energies associated with each sign, then it makes it easier to flow into all of the rest of the information. So there are 4 elements. When we are dealing with astrology, we are dealing with ancients who respected the earth, respected the elements of the earth. Okay? So everything that we are dealing with in astrology has to do with the elements and the energies that flow here in the cosmos, in the earth, how the galaxy and the energies of the planets flow into the earth, and how they are tied and linked to the elements here on earth. I hope that made sense. So the first element is fire. After fire, there is earth. After earth, there is water and air. Okay? So those are the 4 elements. Each element has 3 signs in it. Okay? So for the 4 elements, there are 3 signs that are associated with each one. Okay? So we're going to talk about the element of fire today. And in fire, there is Aries, which is the first sign for fire, and it is the first sign that leads out of the zodiac wheel. In the zodiac wheel, Aries leads out the zodiac. It's the first sign. Then the next sign that is fire is Leo. And the following sign, the last fire sign, is Sagittarius. Okay? So let's look. I lit this candle. It's been burning for a while as I have been taping and retaping and retaping to get the intro together. And so it's hard to see in the camera, but I chose this color red candle on purpose because it is associated with fire and the energy of fire and the energy of movement. When we see this flame, I have some air blowing, so it's trying to go out. In this flame, you can see this flame is dancing and moving. That's the number one thing that you know about the fire signs. All 3 of them, all 3 fire signs are associated with movement. There is a need for movement. And all 3 fire signs have heat associated with them. There is a warmth that is associated with all 3 of the fire signs. And so there is an activation energy that is associated with all 3 signs. If we take this flame, and I have my little booklet that I use to write with. If I put this booklet on top of this flame, the fire will consume this paper. Because fire can be so big and it can be so bold that it can be consuming. You've heard of a consuming fire. So one of the things about the fire signs is that there can be so much energy that they are putting out that it can consume anyone who is around. The energy of fire is big, it is bold, it is bright. Okay? And that is for all three signs. But there are some differences in the energies of all three signs. So let's start out with Aries. So Aries, the glyph for the sign of Aries is simply this. That is the glyph for the sign of Aries. And in this, you can see the ram's horns. So the animal that is associated with the Aries is the ram. When we look to the ram as an example of the energy of Aries, we see this energy of leadership, of boldness, of strength, of power. There is a determination within the ram to get to the top of the mountain. And the ram is bold and brave and ready to fight. The ram is a warrior. The ram is determined to have victory at whatever the cost. The ram is not afraid to charge in and fight to the death. And this is the energy that we see within Aries. And so it is depicted in the glyph with the horns of the ram. Okay, now that we have discussed the ram that is associated with the sign of Aries, let's go deeper into the glyph. So within this glyph, we can see that this is an outward action taking sign. But we see that it is being drawn inwardly. So the actions that are being taken by this Aries energy is typically a self-serving motive. Aries is such a young sign. It is not necessarily concerned with the needs of other people. It is fighting to save the damsel in distress or to go into war for the victory, for the accolades, for the title of being the victor. That is the energy of Aries, you know. It wants to win so that it can have the award, the trophy to say, I won. So it's going into battle and it's fighting a cause and it is warring, you know, to win at all costs because it needs to win. It is associated with the baby. It is the baby of the zodiac. You know, the Aries energy is the baby of the zodiac and can be and have temper tantrums and do things and take moves and move impulsively just because it wants to at that moment. I feel like doing this, so I'm going to do it. Well, what about everybody else? Oh, well, this is about me. That's the Aries energy. At the, you know, in the lowest vibration of the energy. Of course, when it's matured, it still needs to have the win. It still needs to have the victory. But it can be more about others as it matures and evolves. But it is still highly competitive. The sign of Aries itself is just competitive by nature. So even it doesn't matter if the person is 80 years old, if they have a lot of Aries energy, they are competing with other people around them. It's just a part of the nature of the sign. And so it is, again, the color is red. It is ruled Mars. Mars is the ruler. And the symbol of Mars is like this. So Mars is the symbol of movement. So he rules Aries and he also rules Scorpio. So in the sign of Aries, Mars is at home. Right now, as I'm recording this, Mars is transiting through his own sign of Aries. And so Mars, as we can see in this symbol, this is a phallic symbol. So all of the fire signs, the element of fire is masculine. Okay, so the masculine energies are action oriented. They are outwardly oriented, like the phallic symbol that is associated with this. And so you have someone who is always looking for something to do, if there is a lot of Aries energy. You know, just being still and being inward and not around people and not around movement will not serve them well and can be quite challenging for them because they don't have anything to do with all of this energy that needs to have an outlet. Okay? So Aries rules the body. So each sign has a part of the body that is associated with it. So Aries rules the actual head that is on the body because it is the first part of the zodiac wheel. Okay. So Aries is our first fire sign. So let's move on to talk about Leo. Okay, so Leo, here is the symbol for Leo, and as I am looking at this, it's inverted. The way that it's being recorded is flipped around, but this is ultimately the energy. So for Leo is fixed fire. Aries is cardinal fire. You know, I didn't want to introduce that during this video, but I think that I need to further explain the differences. So the modalities of these signs are cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Okay, so the cardinal signs, like Aries, they lead out. Okay, the fixed signs are stubborn. They hold the season that we are in together. They come in the middle of a season. So Aries begins the season of spring. And Leo is fixed, so it holds the season of summer, stands in the very middle of the summer and holds the season still there. And then Sagittarius, that we will get to after this, is mutable. So he comes at the um, end of the season of winter and moves into, that's when we move into the Capricorn season. So he's actually ending the season of fall, as it were. Okay? So Sagittarius ends the fall season. All right? And it's mutable and changeable. Okay? Changeable. It's not steady. It's not fixed. So with this Leo energy, when we look at this glyph here, we can see that it begins down here, and for me it's beginning with the family, and it is coming up where it is receiving the sunshine as it is ruled by the sun. It also gives, though. It is giving, but ultimately the energy is being returned to itself. Okay, it's different than Aries, because with Leo being a fixed sign, Leo is more so about the family and the friends that it has close to it, wants to protect it, and the animal that is associated with Leo is the lion. So let's just take a look at the lion. When we look at the animal that is associated with the sign of Leo, the ancients assigned the lion. The lion is regal, it is majestic, it is powerful, it has no other animal that preys on it. The male lion stands at over 400 pounds. It is the only cat or big cat that operates with the family, with a pride. And with that, it protects its pride. It wants to make sure that it is the only male. So the male lion is the only male that takes care of that pride, takes care of his children, and he stands guard so that no one can come and interrupt his family and hurt them. And this is what we see with the sign of Leo. Okay, now that we have taken a look at the lion, let's go back and let's look at this glyph some more. So Leo is ruled by the sun. So here's the glyph for the sun. The sun represents clear sight. It represents heat and fire. And with the sign of Leo, well, let's go back to the sun. The sun, all of the other planets orbit around the sun. The sun is at the center. And that is what we see with this fire sign, Leo. Leo needs to be in the center. It has that energy of the sun infused within it. It needs to perform. It needs to shine, and it needs to be seen. Similarly to the male lion, it has this mane that is so huge, unlike any other cat that is walking around, a big cat that is walking around. You know, he has this grandiose mane that makes him look even bigger than what he is, though he already is over 400 pounds. He needs to be seen, and he needs to be celebrated for being a great performer. So there is this need, again, for energy to be drawn into itself. Here, this energy is standing above everyone else, standing on the stage, needing to be seen. It rules the heart of the body. Leo rules the heart. And Leo is very giving. It's a very giving sign, but also wants to receive, needs to receive accolades, needs to receive praise, like the sun, needs to be seen. That is the main thing with Leo. But as a fixed sign, as we see with the lion, they want to have that family that belongs to them. Leo energy can be promiscuous when it's not married, when it has not found someone that it feels is good enough, because Leo can see itself as the king. It sees itself as royalty. So the idea of finding someone who is regal enough is important to Leo energy. So there is a stubbornness that is associated with the Leo energy. Because it is fixed. All of the fixed signs are stubborn. But they are set and they are committed. Once they have made a commitment to be with a particular person, this energy is committed. Once they have made a commitment to do something, to accomplish something, this is a committed energy. No different than what we see in nature with the lion, that once it is with its pride, it wants to stay with its pride unless something happens, unless death happens, then it could move on. But it wants to be with its family, it wants to raise its children, and so forth. So, and this is the same with the Leo energy that we see when it's operating in its highest form. On the lower end, like the male lion, Leos can be lazy. They want somebody else to pamper and spoil them and go get this for me and do this for me and so forth. This is on the lower end. They can operate like that. Like the spoiled king, when somebody is laying there and feeding them grapes. They can operate in that way and want that type of attention and want to be, treated like the spoiled royalty. But as far as going after their dreams and being leaders, this is a leadership energy par excellence. Leos were born to lead. As the sun is at the center of all of the other planets, this sign is born to lead, to take the lead and hold the role. So, like Aries energy can start something, right? Because it's impulsive, but the energy does not last long. It's cardinal. It's going to start it. Hey, let's go get it. But then part of the way there, the Aries energy is going to say, you know what? I'm tired. I changed my mind. I want to go do something else and burn out. Leo's energy is not like that. It's fixed. It's the sun, which rises every day and is burning all day. And when it's not burning in one part of the world, it's burning in another part where it can be seen. So this is the fixed energy of the sun. So if it's taking on a leadership role, it can be trusted, the energy can be trusted to lead and maintain that spot of leadership and take it all the way to the end. Okay? Now I'm just talking about one energy. You know, the chart is made up, the birth chart, the natal chart is made up of so many different components and energies that blend together to make a whole. But we're just talking about this specific energy alone. Okay? So, it can be lazy. It likes luxury, as a king would. It likes luxury. It wants to have the best. It wants to look the best. With the lions, they sleep 20 hours a day. And if they are awake, they are mostly grooming themselves or hunting. Okay. And they can see at night. And they can see during the day. They have more success hunting at night than they do during the day. But with the Leos, once they have set their mind to go get something, to become that greatness, they know how to move. They know how to negotiate. They know how to talk to people. They know how to work this fire. They know how to. Um, they know how to smile. They know how to perform. There's the lion. They know how to perform to get what it is that they want. And that is why they are the Leos. That's why they shine the way they do. Because when they are around people, people gravitate to them. People with strong Leo energy can just walk into the room and heads will turn. Leo rising, Leo sun, Leo moon. There is something about them that people will just look at them. It's like the sun. They are just drawn, people are drawn to them. And they stand out. They stand out in a huge way. Okay? And so with Leo, again, they need to perform. So this is fire that is moving in the sense that it needs to perform. They love drama. That's the other thing about Leo. They love drama, and it could be positive or negative because there is this need for movement. There's a need for energy, and if there's not energy happening, they can make the energy. Leo moon people are people who can just, keep a lot of drama going just so that to feed the fire, they need the fire going. Okay? So we're not talking about the moon right now. I'm sorry I did that. I don't want to confuse you. We're just talking about the simple energy right now. Okay? So that is what I have to share about Leo. And so we will move on to Sagittarius. Okay? Let's talk about the fire of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, as I was saying before, is a mutable sign. So the mutable signs are changeable. They help us flow into the next season of signs. Okay? So Sagittarius comes at the end of fall and ushers us into winter. And the next sign is Capricorn. So Sagittarius, as you can see in the symbology, is straight movement in this glyph. It is upward movement, an arrow shooting upward. So Sagittarius, this fire energy is about higher philosophy, higher thinking, higher ways of knowing. It is the sign of the preacher and the college professor. It is the sign of the judge because it is about higher thinking. So the mythological creature that is associated with Sagittarius is the centaur. So let's take a look at the centaur.
Okay, so for the sign of Sagittarius, the ancients were given the mythological creature, the centaur. So in the centaur, we can see a warrior image. We have the lower part, the groin area down, and the legs of a horse, and the upper torso part is of a man. We have the body of the man, upper torso, and then we have the head, showing the intelligence that is associated with the sign of Sagittarius. The Sagittarius energy is that of a warrior. It is mutable and changeable, needs constant movement, needs constant fire, needs constant energy, has to have something to fight for as well. Typically, something that is philosophical or religious belief that they are fighting and warring about. And traveling and gathering new information is a part of this Sagittarius energy. Also, when it comes to lovers, the Sagittarius enjoys having new lovers and new flings and various sexual experiences, which is a part of that animalistic part of Sagittarius. So there is a dualism that is a part of the Sagittarius energy that we can see in the centaur.
Okay, now that we have looked at the centaur, which is the mythological creature that represents Sagittarius, let's finish looking here at the glyph and this idea of this upward movement that is associated with Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. This is a terrible drawing of Jupiter, beloved Jupiter, but this is it in a nutshell. So Jupiter is this sign of optimism and justice, and Jupiter expands whatever he touches. Okay, so he rules the sign of Sagittarius. So we will find in this fire sign this unbeatable optimism. Sagittarius, if you have a lot of Sagittarius in your chart or significant placements of Sagittarius, you will be an optimistic person. To say we can make this work, we can do the impossible. So with Sagittarius, there is sometimes it can be over optimism in situations that need more practical attention. And the Sagittarius, the Jupiterian energy can be so optimistic until it doesn't necessarily prepare for the practical things that are needed. Also, if there is a lot of Sagittarius energy without any grounding Earth or Saturn placements, this is a person who can be moving around a lot, starting various things and stopping various things and getting bored and needing to always have a more information, more philosophical information. This is a sign of a guru, the traveling guru. When this was originally assigned thousands of years ago, this was the traveling Buddha. And if you know the story of Siddhartha, who became the Buddha, he was a person who left his family in the castle. He was a royal. He left his family. He left everyone he knew, and he went out on a journey for enlightenment. He traveled and talked to various people and just gathered information, spent time in meditation, and so forth. And so there was not this idea of a stable life or a practical life for Siddhartha, who became Buddha. This is the sign of the philosopher, of Plato, of Aristotle. These were Socrates. These were men who just traveled around sharing ideas. They were not practical laborers. So this is associated with the sign of Sagittarius. And Sagittarius can be like we see the separation between, or the combination of this animalistic nature with this philosophical thinking. So there's the movement that is associated with it, but then there is this fiery passion that is associated with this sign as well. So when they believe in something, oftentimes they can be dogmatic. They can argue down. As we saw the centaur, he had his sword, so he was ready to fight for what he believed. That's associated with the sign of Sagittarius. There is no backing down. You cannot reason with them. If they have a lot of Sagittarius, if they are on a belief, everybody else is wrong, this is right, because it is the sign of trying to find the higher truth. So if they are on I'm trying to get closer to my mic. I want to make sure that you hear me. If they are on a bent about something, whatever it is, like this is it. Like you are like, well, no, I believe no. There's no two ways about it. What they believe is it. They can be that way. Again, the sign of the judge, the sign of justice, the sign of, doing things the right way. They are on a search for the higher T, capital T truth, and will oftentimes believe that they have the capital T truth, regardless of what it is. Okay. So that is pretty much the sign of Sagittarius. Again, sexually and relationship wise, this is typically a sign if there's a lot of Sagittarius. Monogamy can be difficult for them. It is a mutable sign, means that it likes a lot of variation and change, and it likes to have various experiences. So if there is something else in the chart that is not mutable and changeable, maybe there is something that is more solid, more towards monogamy, maybe so. But if there is a lot of Sagittarius, then it can be challenging for them to just be in one, monogamous relationship day after day, week after week, year after year. Okay? All right, so that's what I had to share about the fire signs. Please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I always respond. I'm so glad to talk with you and share. I love, love, love astrology and sharing what I know. If you would like a reading with me, I offer those. You can find me and find my readings that I offer at soulspreadwisdom.com. And that's it. So thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.